I'm so glad God used it. Ordinary people. He uses people just like you and me who are willing to do as He commands. God uses people who give Him all. It doesn't matter how small your all may seem to you, because the good becomes much when you place it in the Master's hand.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Memory Sunday number 5, hosted by the Jet Setters of the Berea Seventh-day Adventist Church. My name is Barbara Defoe, and I represent the seniors of Berea. The Jet Setters have been organized since 1989 for those aged 50 and above. The Elderly Commission of the City of Boston, led by Commissioner Diane Watson, was a strong support in this endeavor and has never wavered. We seek to share information from a variety of sources that will enhance their health, social activities, and lifestyles. Our first Memory Sunday was in 2018, and we were taught how the brain is affected by Alzheimer's, which is a type of dementia. In 2019, we learned the importance of making memories and showing love to those with memory loss because love remembers. In 2020, caregivers were highlighted and informed about support that's available and how to secure it. In 2021, the main topic was how to recognize signs of change and the ability to adapt to the changes without frustrating the patient. This year, 2022, our theme is Join the Team. You will be given information on what kind of research is being conducted and the need for people of Black and Brown communities to join these studies. We have a greater amount of Alzheimer's, but we are very underrepresented when it comes to participating in research. We have presenters who are ready and willing to answer your questions and explain how you may join their teams. During the presentations, you will be muted, but you can place your questions and comments in the chat. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the presentations. We would greatly appreciate it if you would give your feedback at the end of the program by filling in a short survey, which will help us make plans to keep the public informed. Call or text someone who may benefit from this information, as you may send the link if you can hit the word share. We invite you to relax, watch, take notes, and be informed. We are always honored to have support from the Mayor's Office of the City of Boston. In the past few years, we have had videos from Mayor Walsh, Mayor Janey, and this year from Mayor Michelle Wu, our recently elected mayor. We thank Mayor Wu for supporting us today by sending in her video. A panel of experts will present after the video ends. Immediately after Mayor Wu's video, we will hear from our first presenter, Commissioner of the Age Strong Commission at the City of Boston, Ms. Emily K. Shea. Emily has been serving in that capacity since 2011, and was recently appointed by Mayor Wu in 2022. The commission serves as Boston's area agency in Dementia and Friendly Boston, a collaborative initiative focused on making Boston an even better place to live and to age. Commissioner Shea has been with the Jet Setters Memory Sunday program for the past 5 years. She has always made herself available, and it is my pleasure to work with her with our Memory Sunday, and also to work with her and the Mayor's Advisory Council. We welcome Commissioner Shea right after the video from our current mayor, Mayor Michelle Wu. Thank you so much and enjoy the presentations.
Hi everyone, it's Mayor Michelle Wu. While I wish I could be with you in person today, it is my honor to welcome you virtually to this year's celebration of Memory Sunday. Today, we recognize the tremendous impact that Alzheimer's and other forms of memory loss have on our communities, and particularly its disproportionate impact on our Black communities here in Boston and around the country. Since 2018, this event has brought our communities together to leverage the strength and voice and power of our Black communities in Boston to bring local and national attention to fighting this disease. The pandemic laid bare the many racial inequities in health outcomes and care that are the result of systemic racism and institutions and structures not designed to serve all our residents. The disproportionate impact of Alzheimer's and memory loss in Black communities across America is no different. And like all injustices, addressing it is a community effort. I'd like to recognize the Balm in Gilead's Brain Health Center for African Americans for creating Memory Sundays to eliminate health disparities impacting our Black communities. To Nancy Koppelman and the team from the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease and Research Center and the Berea Seventh-day Adventist Church and their Jet Setters Ministry led by Barbara Defoe, thank you. Thank you for your support in making this year's event possible. And thank you to our 8-strong team here at the city for all you do every day to connect our residents living with Alzheimer's and their caregivers to the resources and support they deserve. This work brings together so many important collaborators, more than 15 community partners, 20 faith-based communities, and we need each and every one of you in this fight. Thank you for doing this incredibly important work to develop culturally appropriate, faith-based practices tailored to those most immediately impacted by these diseases. Here in City Hall, we're committed to doing that work together in community.
Great. Hello, everybody. Good morning, or good afternoon, I guess, at this point. My name is Emily Shea, as you heard from Barbara, and thank you, Barbara, for that nice introduction. And thank you to Mayor Wu for those words of wisdom. Just so happy to be on the mayor's team and working to move our city forward together. So at the 8-Strong Commission, this work tackling dementia, supporting those with dementia, and supporting caregivers is just so important to us. The City of Boston committed to being a dementia-friendly city in 2015. We were one of the first 6 cities in the country to do that, and we are recommitted under the Wu administration to moving the work forward. So since then, we've been working to raise awareness, doing memory cafes, helping people get connected with information and resources, working to train our city staff, right? Because you're only as good as the team that you have. And we want to make sure that all of our city staff understand dementia and how to get people connected. And also working to train our local businesses so that there's eyes and ears out there in the community helping to support people as they age in Boston. You can come to us for many things. You can come to us for assistance with dementia and getting connected to resources, help with your Medicare, benefits, any benefits that you need access to, transportation, through our 8-Strong shuttle. We do a lot of events and programs and have volunteer opportunities. We can connect you to a lot of assistance programs and resources. So really anything that you need, if you're an older adult in the city or you're a caregiver or a care partner out there and you're thinking, I need something, but I'm not quite sure what it is and I'm not quite sure how to get connected, please give our office a call. That is what we're here for. We're here to help you get connected to what you need and help you figure out what you need. If you live in the city of Boston, to get hold of us, you can just call 311. It's really easy. And they will help you get connected to the Age Strong Commission. Or you can also call us at 617-635-4366. So easy to reach us at the city. Now, I am very excited to introduce our next guest. It's my pleasure to introduce him. Mr. Carrie Goodman is the Program and Development Consultant for the Balm in Gilead and the National Brain Health Center for African Americans, which is based in Richmond, Virginia. So Carrie comes to us from a long way away. But he's been a part of this since the beginning, a part of Memory Sunday. In fact, we learned from him, as we learned here in Boston, how to start this. He's really an innovator, tackling health disparities. And I think the best thing about Carrie is that he's so committed to making the world a better place. So, Carrie, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Shea, and thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the warm words. And I am so grateful to be a part of the family of Memory Sunday New England. I have, over the last 5 years, I have absolutely enjoyed working with each and every one of you. And I want to say big kudos to the jet setters of Berea Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is led by our own Barbara Defoe, and to Pastor Jarvis. Thank you so much for your continued support of not only Memory Sunday, but of the Balm in Gilead and our various programs that we have. And so just to give you a little national information and background of Memory Sunday. Memory Sunday is a program of the National Brain Health Center for African Americans. And the mission of the National Brain Health Center for African Americans is to raise awareness of issues of cognitive health among African Americans by working through networks of faith-based institutions and by establishing partnerships with organizations and individuals dedicated to our mission. And so in 2015, the Balm in Gilead graciously adopted Memory Sunday, which was a local project at that time from the Sanders Brown Center on Aging at the University of Kentucky. And we are committed to bringing national attention to the increasing rates of Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia that our communities are impacted by. And so among Black Americans ages 70 and older, 21% are living with Alzheimer's. And while older Black Americans are twice as likely as whites to have Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, research has not really yet identified the root causes of it. But there are some comorbid reasons that we highlight, which are heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes all play a role in someone being diagnosed with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. But the great thing about Memory Sunday, it is the opportunity for our faith communities to use the power of the pulpit to raise awareness of such a disease as Alzheimer's. And I know many of you may know someone who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, or you may have seen someone on television, or you've heard something about it in the news. But today is a day that we have set aside for faith communities across the country to stand up, to raise up, to shout loud the impact of Alzheimer's and dementia in our communities. But not only just about those who've been diagnosed, but we want to raise awareness about caregiving and the importance of providing resources and other opportunities for our caregivers. Because as a caregiver myself, I understand that there are so many things that we need in order to live happy and healthy lives, but also for us to give our loved ones the best quality of care. And so I charge each and every one of you to do something, to say something, to even ask someone who is who is a caregiver, is there anything that you need? And many times those questions typically can go unanswered, or it may have even say, hey, I'm all good. But doing something, a nice gesture, is one way that persons who are caregivers feel the love. And I think that's what we all need. We need love. We want to make this world an even greater place. And because each and every one of you are here, each and every one of you have decided to take a stance to say, hey, we can do something about raising awareness of Alzheimer's and dementia. And so, again, I thank you so much. I'm a part of the Memory Sunday New England family, and I thank each and every person who has taken the time. I thank the Jet Setters because as we progress, as we age daily, we want to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to make sure that the end of our lives is the best of our lives. And so, without further ado, I would like to introduce, before I go, quick announcement. And so this evening, the Balm in Gilead, as a national program this year, we want to present our Down by the Riverside concert, which will be this evening at 6 p.m. And you can view it on Facebook and YouTube. If you go to the Balm in Gilead on YouTube, you'll see the concert this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it is an opportunity for us to sit back and enjoy some down home singing which is led by gospel artist Dr. Stephen Hurd and the Balm in Gilead Singers. And so, without further ado, I would like to introduce the initiator and the co-lead of Memory Sunday New England, Nancy Koppelman. She is the Director of Community Outreach and Engagement at the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. And she co-leads Memory Sunday New England, which is a faith-based collaboration made up of leaders at the local and state level focused on raising awareness about memory loss, aging, and Alzheimer's disease in the African American community. And so, my dear heart, Nancy Koppelman.
Carrie, for that warm welcome, and welcome everybody today to Memory Sunday. It's very exciting to be here. So Barbara Defoe asked me to talk a little bit about the history of Memory Sunday and how we got to today. So anyway, in 2016, Dr. Doreen Rentz, who many of you know, learned about Memory Sunday through a flyer which came across her desk. She shared it with me, and I jumped on the Balm in Gilead website, only to find that there were no participating churches in the Northeast. I immediately called the Balm and had the distinct pleasure of speaking with Mr. Carrie Goodman, who said, "Of course I will help you bring Memory Sunday to Boston." That was in June, and for the next 6 months, I worked valiantly to find a church and consistently came up with nothing. In January of 2018, I had a dream and learned that I had to reach out to all the community members I had met and ask for help. I quickly set up a meeting with everyone, and within a day, we had a church, Berea Seventh-day Adventist, which was willing to pilot Memory Sunday. At Berea, we collaborated with the Golden Jet Setters, and more specifically, Sister Barbara Defoe and Pastor Omar Jarvis. With their enthusiastic support, we had the making of a great event, and it continues to be a true blessing and joy to partner with them both. This group of community members met throughout the winter and spring of 2018, and we successfully rolled out our first Memory Sunday in 2018. In person at the Berea Church. Some of you here today may even remember it. It was clear that the key to creating a Memory Sunday template was the establishment of highly collaborative and integrative relationships with deep roots in the Black community. We were fortunate to engage multiple faith communities, civic agencies, hospitals, and aging groups to join us. Our expansive Memory Sunday coalition now includes over 20 partners. Through intentional outreach and engagement efforts, specifically our partners reaching out to their networks and educating them about Memory Sunday, as well as my co-lead, Mike, and my leafleting the churches on Blue Hill Avenue. We drove around in his Batmobile, and I ran up and put the flyers at the various churches. Memory Sunday expanded from a single participating church in 2018 to 14 in 2019. In the fall of 2019 and the winter of 2020, before the pandemic hit, we implemented Memory Sunday Phase 2, consisting of workshops at 12 of the 14 churches led by the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. When the pandemic hit in March 2020, 2 months before Memory Sunday, we were suddenly at a crossroads. How to proceed with an in-person program while everything was shutting down. Our wonderful group decided to pivot to a dynamic virtual program. Unfortunately, many of our churches lacked audio and visual and internet capabilities, so participation in 2020 was limited to 4 churches. This lack of electronic infrastructure highlighted one of the many disparities that exist in our underserved communities. Despite the limited participation of churches in 2020, however, our group reconvened and started planning for Memory Sunday, which would take place on June 13th, 2021. Given our expansive list of partners, we decided to name ourselves Memory Sunday New England, thereby reflecting our growth and breadth. Having lived with the pandemic for 6 months and having one virtual Memory Sunday in the rearview mirror, we had a sense of what worked, what didn't work, and how to move forward in creating a truly meaningful program. A rare silver lining of the pandemic has been the opportunity to expand the reach of Memory Sunday virtually, making it more global through collaborations with faith communities at the local, regional, and national levels. Our second virtual Memory Sunday in 2021 included 8 participating faith communities, 5 in Boston, 1 in Cambridge, and 2 in Providence. 3 of these were new faith communities. We have learned through Memory Sunday that populations long excluded from participation in vital medical education programs can be reached through a coordinated effort involving churches, community leaders, and medical experts. And this is only the beginning. The high incidence of dementia in minority communities is daunting. The path to a cure involves participating in research. We remain committed to bringing the tools of medicine to those in dire need of these gifts. Memory Sunday has opened the door. We will continue to do what it takes to educate all people about memory loss, aging, and Alzheimer's disease, and welcome all those who walk through our doors to join us in our search for a cure. Now I would like to introduce Tia Hall. Tia is the newly appointed project manager for the Center for Alzheimer Research and Treatment at Brigham and Women's Hospital. She's passionate about assisting in the efforts to find an effective treatment for Alzheimer's disease, educating community members about Alzheimer's and participants' rights, and ensuring research opportunities are accessible to all. I'm now going to turn the floor over to Tia.
Thanks, Nancy. All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can, I think you should be able to see my screen. There we go. So as Nancy mentioned, my name is Tia. I am the project manager over at Brigham and Women's Hospital with the Center for Alzheimer's Research and Treatment. And today I've been asked to speak a little bit about research. Just to give you guys an overview on who we are. So the Center for Alzheimer's Research and Treatment, or CART as we like to refer to ourselves, we're nested within the greater house of the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, or MADRIC. And there are a couple different research teams nested within, I guess, this greater house. So if CART doesn't fit the need for a research participant or what somebody's interested in participating in. We have multiple groups within our unit, our greater unit, where people can go and participate. Just a little bit about CART. We're a team made up of neurologists, neuropsychiatrists, nurses, neuropsychologists, research assistants, managers, directors, and administrative staff. These are just a few of us down here. And then up here in the top corner, we were geared up and ready for the Celtics to win, but I guess we'll have to wait for the next game. And we all bring something unique to the table in terms of research. And we all have the ultimate goal of trying to make clinical trials more accessible, informing community members as yourselves about research and the opportunities and why it's so important. Not only about research, but about Alzheimer's disease and dementia too as well. Having people, educating folks so that they have a better understanding of what it is. And then also providing information about the support systems that exist, not only for caregivers, but also for study participants and their study companions or their study partners, because it does take a little bit of energy to participate in a research trial, and we understand that. So right here, this is our fearless leader, Dr. Risa Sperling. And I just kind of wanted to highlight our mission. We have a twofold mission, which I feel like is pretty interesting and impactful. One pillar of the mission is assessing promising new treatments. And then the second point is to improve early diagnosis for Alzheimer's disease. So not only are we trying to seek out and figure out what would be a good treatment, but we're also trying to look at folks and try to catch the disease, Alzheimer's disease early, see if we can come up with techniques to diagnose people earlier, because we're thinking that we hit it early and we'll have a better outcome. So one question that we all get asked, Raisha, who will be speaking right after me, Nancy, Mike, anybody that does community work, is what is and dementia. And Ms. Barbara asked us to kind of touch on this a little bit. So dementia is the umbrella. I like to think of it as an umbrella where you're thinking of general memory loss, not general, but memory loss, a significant amount of memory loss, and then changes in your abilities for things that would interfere with your activities of daily living or your daily life. So for example, if you pay bills, going online and pay bills or writing a check to send off to Xfinity for your cable. If you're having trouble with those things or balancing your checkbook or paying bills online, this could be an indication that there's some changes in cognition or thinking associated with dementia. So you got the umbrella term of dementia, and then up under it, you have these different that are different forms of dementia. So obviously Alzheimer's disease, what we're all here for today to learn more about. One that some people might know about is Parkinson's. So there's a thing called Parkinson's dementia, Huntington's. The circuitry, I like to call it the circuitry of your body, your blood vessels, they become kind of clogged up, and then you have things. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have Alzheimer's disease. For Alzheimer's, you have these different proteins that are associated with it, and different things that are associated to make it Alzheimer's disease. So I just kind of wanted to and distinguish that dementia, talking about the symptom of general loss, and then thinking ability difficulties, and then you have the different diseases that have specific causes. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I know this is hard to see for me, so it's probably hard for you guys to see at home. But let me zoom back out really quick. Where's the treatment for Alzheimer's disease? So I guess that's a question. It's been around for a while. Have a treatment, what's going on, where we're at. So one of the things that we need to do to understand this disease a lot more, we've made progress, but we're still not where we're at, where we could say that there isn't an effective treatment, 100% effective treatment out there. And so we need research in order to get to the bottom of that. And there are two different types of research that I kind of wanted to highlight today for you guys this afternoon. There's clinical trials and then there's observational trials. And so for clinical trials, more so we're talking about some type of intervention. What I mean by intervention is it could be a drug, it could be a dietary change, something put in someone's life to intervene to make an effect versus observational studies. We're sitting back and we're observing. We're seeing, are there changes in the brain structure with an MRI? Are there changes in memory testing? Are there changes in your lab work in the market? Those are between clinical trials and observational trials that I feel like are like important to understand and kind of take away. And then when we start talking about clinical trials, you can kind of divvy it up a little bit more. We have prevention trials. So somebody doesn't have a diagnosis for Alzheimer's or Alzheimer's disease, but they have a strong family history of it, right? So your mom has it, your grandmother has it, or your grandfather has it, strong family history. So we do have preventative trials. There are preventative people that have that strong family history. Sometimes there's screening or diagnosis that could be developed where there are clinical trials to look at that. And then there's also drug therapies too as well. So I'll kind of focus on the preventative today. As we're talking about clinical trials, I want to point out that there are different levels of clinical trials. They're broken up. So you have a phase 1 trial, which looks at the safety and drug dose. So just make phase 1. So if you ever hear anybody say, hey, we have this phase 1 clinical trial, it's solely looking at the safety of the drug, seeing if it's good to take. And then when you're talking about phase 2 and phase 3, now you're looking at the effectiveness, or more immediate safety, more safety, effectiveness, and then any side effects that might pop up. Does it cause a rash? Does it does it cause upset stomach or anything like that? Because with every drug there is a side effect potentially. And then phase 4 clinical trials, the drug is already approved. And at this point, they're just looking at the long-term effects of the drug. Once you get past that immediate stage of trial and it's approved, we're just trying to see, what does it look like in people after they're taking it for a long time. I did want to point out, this is really important to know because it's important for us to acknowledge that there is a troubled relationship between Black and Brown community and the medical community, not only the medical community, but the research community too as well. These have been wronged. And so it's important to know that there have been safety set into place to make sure that those things like, the Tuskegee syphilis incident experiments don't occur anymore. Fail-safes put into place to protect you as a potential research participant. And so one thing to note is that the Federal Drug Administration, the FDA, they're tasked with monitoring these drug trials nationwide. So they're looking at the data. They're making sure that things are being done above board and more immediate and more local. There's a group called the Institutional Review Board, and they're made up of scientists who participate on one of these boards. Rules that make up these groups within an institution. So the Brigham and Mass General Hospital, we answer to and they're making sure that research participants' rights are being protected and that we're doing things that won't harm research participants. So I just wanted to make that very clear that there are things set into place to protect you, but always come armed with questions. Even my family, like, your body better than anybody else. And if you feel uncomfortable, ask questions. And if you still feel uncomfortable at the questions, then maybe it might not be a good fit, or ask someone else. So I just wanted to point that out. Let's see here. So At the Center for Alzheimer's Research and Treatment, we offer both observational and clinical trials. So just want to reiterate that the observational trials, they're not with drugs. So we don't use drugs here. We're just looking at memory testing or lab work. And then for clinical trials, it's more so with a drug. So a lot of times in these clinical trials, you either get a drug. So a placebo is it's a drug, but it's I know my grandmother she refers to it as like a sugar pill. So you know it's not that it's why does research matter? It improves the diagnosis for all folks. It improves treatment for all. It helps prevent the disease progression, and then it prevents the disease onset for all too. As right now, the people that are coming into our clinic look the same, and when you have all the folks coming in for these research, that an effective treatment for all folks, Black and Brown included, is found. So understand not only how the disease works, because we know, as Carrie mentioned earlier, that Alzheimer's disease affects our communities at a disproportionate rate compared to white communities. And so in order for us to understand why that difference exists and to find an effective treatment, we need us to participate in research, and to ask those questions and to feel comfortable enough to participate in research. So I just wanted to talk about what it would look like if you did participate in a clinical trial. This is with a study drug. You would come in for memory testing, and then you would have lab work done, some imaging, whether right here, this is a PET scan, or you would, and then after that, PET scan or MRI, after that, you'll receive some type of treatment, whether it be intravenous with an IV, or whether it be an injection or a pill, whatever the different study calls for. Just to kind of close out a little bit here, at our center, we offer a lot of, these are a few of our trials that we have going on. We have some observational studies. The ones in orange are the ones that we're accepting participants for. And then we have a few drug trials that we're running. Currently, we only have this one accepting or enrolling folks. And then we have a few preventative trials too as well. The HEAD study is a preventative trial. Not sure if you've seen it in the news, but I know my colleague was on the news as of recently talking about that study. If you're interested, here is the link to fill out a survey. You can also put your phone up to the screen and take a picture of this barcode, and it'll take you straight to the link. And what we typically do is a medical review. We determine if you're eligible. We schedule a screening, and then we bring you in for a visit. As simple as that. And if you are a little leery and feel uncomfortable, we do have a study, the MAX study, which I showed in the previous slide, which you just come in for a one-time visit to kind of get your feet wet and see if this is something that fits for you, if research is something that you'd be interested in. And before I leave, I did want to let you guys know that Mass General Brigham is hosting their second annual Juneteenth celebration of freedom. They're doing a men's health and wellness fair for Father's Day in collaboration with the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity on June 19th from 12 to 4 in the Blair parking lot. Please show up and join us. We'll have a table, an informational table there, and then we'll also be conducting free memory screens. So if you feel like you're, you yourself or your loved one, if you're worried about anything or have any concerns, you can show up and we'll give you a free memory screen, no strings attached or anything. From 12 to 4, we'll be in the Brucey Bowling building, and we're screening folks that are 40 years of age plus. There'll be some other screens going on too as well in the Blair parking lot. So there'll be a DJ, there'll be face painting, free food. So feel free to show up. And then I just wanted to throw this link up here really quick, just in case if you didn't get it before, and the code that you need to type in. I just wanted to say thank you for your time. It's been a while since I've participated in Memory Sunday. The last one was when everybody was in person. So it's been a pleasure to be with you guys this afternoon. All right. And so I am going to pass the mic to a colleague that I actually just met who's pretty awesome, Miss Roisha Young. So Miss Young is a recruitment coordinator at Boston University Alzheimer's Disease Research Center and is a member of the Outreach, Recruitment, and Engagement Corps, so the OR Corps. The core team that facilitates the recruitment and retention of research participants. She's actively working in the community, seeking ways to educate families about Alzheimer's clinical research. She endeavors to build relationships with potential research participants, especially those from underserved communities. So please join me in welcoming Miss Roisha Young. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Tia, for that warm welcome. And good afternoon, everyone. And thank you all for joining us today. It's so exciting to speak to you all about Alzheimer's disease and what we're doing here at the Boston University Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. Just one moment to, yes, here we go. So today I will be sharing a little bit about what we do here at Boston University Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, as well as how to get involved in research and yes, just to continue the conversation that Tia started about getting involved in research. So a little bit about who we are. Our center was established in 1996, and it is one of 38 Alzheimer's disease centers funded by the National Institute on Aging. Our faculty and staff are affiliated with Boston University School of Medicine and the Boston VA healthcare system. Our mission here is to reduce the human and economic costs of Alzheimer's disease through the advancement of knowledge. And our three objectives are surrounded around research, care, and education. So some of the warning signs of Alzheimer's disease, things to be aware of, but not to be afraid of. So I think today our main goal is to spread awareness and just to know, to give everyone some education, but some tools as well, so that this doesn't have to be something that is scary, or it doesn't have to be something that we are very hush-hush about, but something that we can have a open discussion about and empower ourselves. So some of the warning signs of Alzheimer's disease include, of course, memory loss, problems with words in speaking or writing, misplacing and losing things, as well as decrease or poor judgment, confusion with time or place, among other different symptoms. However, to combat some of these things, there's things that we all can do, such as taking care of our sleep. Sleep is very important. Getting enough rest helps our brain recover, and also is just, we all feel better overall if we get enough sleep, right? As well as exercise, getting some physical movement. So whatever that may be for you, it can be taking some longer walks. It can take maybe be some chair yoga, different things. There's so many things that we can do. So yeah, it's just very important for us to get our heart rate up and to be physically active. Next is diet. Yes, taking care of our bodies and our brain always includes what we're putting into our bodies to nourish ourselves. So something that has been proven is the Mediterranean menu of foods. So eating more salmon or more fruits and vegetables. These are things that are very helpful to our body and to our overall brain health. The next thing is social functioning. this might sound I don't know, strange or different, but the more we socialize, the better. It is good for our brains. It keeps us active and it keeps us very engaged. So going out with a group of friends versus staying home and watching TV has been proven to be more beneficial. So picking up the phone, calling some loved ones, some friends, hanging out with our grandchildren, things like that is very helpful, or starting a book club, or joining the Jet Setters, or a different, any community that is really helpful for us all. Also, there are some strategies that we all can use to aid in our memory. This is not for only the aging community, because we're all aging, right? And we can all use some help. So sometimes it's helpful to write things down, whether that is on the calendar, making a little note on a notepad, or putting something on our phone to remind us of appointments or important names or things that we want to remember. These are all things that we can utilize to help us in successful aging. So next, I would like to talk about how Alzheimer's is diagnosed, and something that our center here at the BU Alzheimer's Disease Research Center offers is memory evaluations. And so it's two separate things. So there's memory evaluations that you can come into our center to receive for free, as well as if you participate in some of our studies, a free diagnosis would be available to you. So how is Alzheimer's disease diagnosed would be through a number of different cognitive tests. Doctors would also look at your history, as well as perform a physical exam. There are also structural imaging, such as an MRI, and also take in account of your personal and family interviews. So just asking you about your day-to-day and how, or what are your memory concerns? Maybe you're starting to realize that you're getting lost a little bit more when you're driving, or just different things that that is causing some concern to you. Next, these are some types of studies that we currently have at our center. There are genetic studies, clinical trial studies, memory and aging studies, caregiving studies, imaging studies, and digital studies. And so there's a wide variety of different types and different ways that you can get involved. And so you might wonder or think automatically that research means that you have to take some type of medication. But as Tia shared earlier, that there are different types. So like our genetic studies, these studies look at the link between Alzheimer's disease and genetics. And these studies help us to understand genetic risk factors associated with Alzheimer's disease. And then as far as our clinical trials, these are trials that help determine if new or currently used medications can prevent Alzheimer's disease or slow down its progression. Then as far as memory and aging studies are, it helps us to learn about the changes that occur in people's memory as they age. Next, we have caregiving studies. These studies focus on issues related to activities in daily life, such as driving, coping emotionally with caregiver activities. So these studies are completely dedicated to caregivers, because as you know, Alzheimer's disease affects everyone. So the person that is suffering from Alzheimer's disease, but also the people that are caring for them, and then the people that are also caring for the caregivers. So we're all in this together. And so these studies are geared towards these ones. Also, imaging studies. These studies help us to learn how brain images can provide more information about diagnosing and detecting Alzheimer's disease early, when treatments are most effective. So really want to stress the importance of being diagnosed or just having a memory evaluation earlier the better, because there are ways to, or things that you can take to treat, versus when it's later in progression where it's harder to treat or to prevent. So yes, please sign up somewhere, or even start with asking your doctor to give you a memory evaluation. Next, and lastly, we have digital studies. These are some very new and exciting studies that we have here at our center. They're basically studies that you can do on your phone, on your tablet, or on your computer. If you would like more information, please let me know. These are very fun things that you can do, such as playing a game on your phone. And you might wonder, how is it helping you? We can talk more, but yes, it is a great way to get involved in research. Next, I would like to talk about the need and significance of diversity in research. So for research, there is a need for various groups, or everyone, I should say, to get involved in research. So who do we need? We need you. We need people that are healthy, that do not have any memory concerns. We need people that have some memory concerns, and these concerns might not be serious or dire, like very strenuous needs, but we need to hear from you. We also need individuals that have Alzheimer's disease. And this will help us to better understand risk factors, how to treat Alzheimer's disease, and a number of other things. We also need individuals that are 55 years and older. You might think 55 years old is young, and it is, but we need everyone from 55 years old to yes, much older, to participate. And we need individuals that are from various educational backgrounds. So whether you went up to elementary school or you have your doctoral degree, we need to hear from you as well. And the last point I like to stress about having diversity in research is the need for various backgrounds, or various ethnic backgrounds. Whether you are whatever race or ethnicity that you identify with, we need you. However, like it has been mentioned, there's such a strong need for Black and Brown people to participate in Alzheimer's disease research. This is affecting our community at a higher rate. However, we have lower numbers of participants from Black and Brown communities. And so currently there are a lot of, if I can say bluntly, there's a lot of white, older females that are participating in research, which is great. However, if the treatment and research is geared towards this population that are participating at a higher rate, then the treatment would be towards these group of people. So if we want to have something that is available to us that would also work for us, we need to be empowered enough and educate ourselves on this, so that we too can participate and have something that will treat us as well. Lastly, I would like to share about our HOPE study. This study is our health outreach program for the elderly. This is a community-based resource that is intended for people with and without memory concerns. And participants will complete an annual visit to assess their memory and other thinking skills. So again, if you, whether you have memory concerns or you don't, we welcome you. And if you're 55 years and older, again, please sign up. Here is my contact information. Again, I'm Roisha Young with the Boston University Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. Here is my office number as well as my email address. And next, I would also like to share a little bit about some of our participants from our Hope study. So one of our participants here shared that they really enjoyed participating in the study. And then we also have one of our presenters here who also is a part of one of our studies, Barbara Defoe. I would also like to introduce her, who is a retired Boston school teacher, a leader of the Jet Setters senior group of the Berea Seventh-day Adventist Church, and also the past president of the Age Strong Mayors Advisory Council, and member of several other community organizations. Barbara is also the mother of 4 successful adult children and grandmother of 3 strong future leaders. She enjoys encouraging and supporting others and watching cooking shows and collecting recipes. Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Defoe.
Thank you, Roisha. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about myself. First of all, how many of you have thought that you were losing your mind when you put something down and could not go back to it, or forget where you put some important papers? Don't raise your hands. This is something I have been grappling with for several months, maybe even years. When my children were at home, I accused them of moving things, but now they're out of the house and I still misplace things. There is no one to blame now. God has gotten so many requests to lead me to the things that I could not find. This is one of many problems I have been experiencing with my memory. I forget names, dates, appointments, and must write them down in more than one place. I am sure that I annoy my daughter every time I forget a password. Even though it might have been written down somewhere, I still have trouble finding it. Thankfully, she remembers my passwords and helps me out. I find myself also reluctant to speak at times because I lose my train of thought or cannot find the word relevant to my conversation. Word retrieval issues make me frustrated and cause me to have headaches. Perhaps people sometimes say to me that they try to encourage me, and they say that because I am busy and that they have the same kinds of problems and I do lots of different things, that it's probably because I have so many things going on at the same time that my involvement will cause some of these problems. But this does not help me because I feel the person is not listening to me, especially when they say that it is normal and they have the same problem and it's because of aging. But these issues have not altered my way of life nor caused me injury. But because of my experience with others who suffer from dementia, I am concerned. Therefore, I reached out to the Hope Study researchers as a means of finding out if I have a predilection to Alzheimer's or dementia. We have attempted to bring information and help for those suffering from dementia and for caregivers in our Memory Sunday programs for the past 5 years. We must use all means that are at our disposal to seek information that may be useful in the diagnosis and treatment of this disease. Therefore, as a precaution, I wanted to find answers before my situation got out of hand. I contacted the Boston University's Alzheimer's Disease Research Center and made an appointment. I had an interview. The first interview was by telephone, and I had a battery of questions to be asked concerning my health and issues concerning my family history. A family member was also interviewed, and their knowledge of my medical history was also asked about and what my memory skills that they noticed were. The second appointment was in person and included a blood sample drawing, a battery of memory tests like recalling lists of numbers, names, and identifying drawings. There was even a physical exam that was not invasive. My greatest challenge, though, was the MRI because it took several minutes to complete. For those who don't like tight spaces, it may be a challenge. But I was able to finish my time that was allotted in the machine. So I look forward to returning in a year so that we will find out if there's any reduction in my cognitive function. This study is designed to help identify changes in memory or thinking skills. You can also join this study in order to shed light on why there is such a prevalence of Alzheimer's in the Black and Brown communities. It is also one of those studies that is a prerequisite to other studies. I urge you to inquire about any of the before mentioned studies so that we can assist in providing data that may lead to a breakthrough in the cause, treatment, and cure for Alzheimer's. Think about it. Your participation could be instrumental in finding a solution to this dreaded imposter in our communities. There is hope, and if we work together, we can make it happen. I hope that you will inquire and join one of the studies. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the next person who will present to you, Tyler Alston Swann. Tyler is a diversity outreach coordinator for the Alzheimer's Association with a current focus on working within the Black and African American communities. He is a passionate advocate for eliminating racial disparities in our country. One day at a time, he tells himself, as he aims to be an agent of change. His previous experience consists of working for the former Senator Congressman Joe Kennedy III and Senator Elizabeth Warren. He has enjoyed working with Memory Sunday Coalition and looks forward to engaging more with the faith community. Tyler, welcome, and you hear ye him.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am happy to be here. My name is Tyler Alston Swann. I am with the Alzheimer's Association in the Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter. I'm going to just share some overview information of some resources that we have available at the Alzheimer's Association. But first, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Grimes King's Foundation for the Elderly. They are an integral funder for the Alzheimer's Association here in Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter for our diversity, equity, and inclusion work. Again, I am the diversity outreach coordinator for the Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter, and it's very important that we engage with our underserved communities. Okay. So the Alzheimer's Association is the nation's leading voluntary health organization devoted to Alzheimer's care, research, and support. The Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter is a part of a 75 network chapter, or I should say a network of chapters, 75 chapters nationwide. We have a chapter in any city or town in the United States. The COVID-19 pandemic has especially been challenging for people living with dementia and their caregivers. So I want to acknowledge that. A study published in February of 2020 indicates that people with dementia are at increased risk for COVID-19. Dementia-related behaviors such as forgetting to wash hands, increased age, and common health conditions that often accompany dementia may increase this risk. The threat of COVID-19 and the accompanying public health recommendations present serious challenges to people living with dementia and their caregivers. You may have a disruption in routine that can be vital for maintaining independence and reducing challenging behaviors. Limited options for home care services and respite. There are decreased social support and concern for loved ones in residual care facilities due to increased COVID-19 and risk in restrictions on visiting. For these reasons, the resources and support for the Alzheimer's Association are more important than ever. In order to ensure safety of our constituents, volunteers, and staff, all resources and support are available by telephone, online, and live video conferencing. Our constituents will receive individualized information and support that meet their unique situation. Again, everybody's situation is unique, even though you are not on this road alone. That includes people living with Alzheimer's, families and the general public, and professionals in the field of dementia. Remember, no problem is too big and no problem is too small. Support for information is available 24/7 in English and Spanish from experts in the field of dementia. Which brings me to our next slide. Our 24/7 helpline. For those of you who know me, I often mention our 24/7 helpline, which is 800-272-3900. I can't express how important this resource is, as it opens the doors for many families who are struggling with Alzheimer's or any other form of dementia. Our 24/7 helpline is a gateway to all of our programs and services. It also provides immediate support and consultation for families at any hour of the day. You may have heard me say this as well. If you don't believe me, please call my bluff. If you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning like I do myself, give us a call. I promise you one of my colleagues will answer the phone. You can contact the helpline again day or night to find out about programs that are local in your area, whether that be in person or virtual, and you can register for those programs. And since our helpline is staffed and trained by specialists and master's level clinicians, you can also talk to someone to learn about symptoms of Alzheimer's and other dementias, get decision-making support, caregiving tips, and education on issues families face every single day. You are able to receive referrals to local resources as well, and also find emotional support. And I just want to say, even if you just needed to vent, you just need an ear, just give us a call. Support groups are a wonderful resource that reduce anxiety, stress, and social isolation, and to learn new ideas and resources. We offer more than 40 support groups on an ongoing basis, with caregiver support groups offered at various times. Support groups are facilitated by a trained volunteer, but are focused on social and emotional support between members. Many of our groups are for the Alzheimer's caregivers, and I also want to highlight some of our more specific and specialized groups, as these have sprung up during the pandemic. Programs. So in addition to our many programs, we offer programs designed for people with Alzheimer's or other dementias to provide education, to provide that awareness, and to provide you with information and an ability to put these pieces together. Okay, we have our ALS meetups, a social engagement program, which is designed for people with early memory loss to get connected with one another. We are currently offering weekly virtual discussion groups as well as guided experience like museum tours. Also in collaboration with other chapters across the nation, in particularly Connecticut, many other early stage social engagement programs are available to Massachusetts, to constituents in Massachusetts. So I just want to highlight that even if, because we do have a lot of virtual programs as well, if there is something that you find interesting, even on our website that maybe say, or one of our other chapters are hosting, you can always feel free to engage in any one of our programs online or virtually, even if it's not necessary, even if you are a resident in Massachusetts, you are always able to access all of our virtual programs anywhere. And support groups and education programs are also available for people with early memory loss as well. So not just for caregivers, but remember for people that are dealing with early memory loss as well. Knowledge is power. A caregiver, education programs have been shown to reduce strain and improve confidence. So let me just repeat that. Caregiver education programs have been shown to reduce strain and improve confidence. Oftentimes I hear, I wish I knew this information some years back. And people kind of get down on themselves and beat themselves up. I want to say, please do not do that today. Okay? Or in any time in the future, even though it may be tempting, because you can only act upon any set of information that you have. And that's what we're here for today. There are over 100 educational programs throughout the month on a variety of topics. Topics are related to disease education as well as caregiving issues and challenges. And we offer education designed for people with dementia, and again, caregivers, professionals, and the general public. The Massachusetts-New Hampshire chapter also offers scheduled supportive calls by phone or video conference. We call this care consultation. Care consultations are at no cost to families. They're confidential and personalized to meet the individual needs of the family. We provide dementia information, again, identify resources, and provide decision-making support, consultation on day-to-day challenges, and will help the family create an action plan. Consultations can be provided by phone or video conference, and also can include members in separate locations. So if you are worried about a family member or a loved one that may not necessarily live, say, in the same city or town, or even in the same state, we are able to connect you and get the ball rolling. The Alzheimer's Association is the largest private non-funder of research worldwide. And I know we had some of our research guests online today that provided some essential information and also noted the importance of participating in research. And again, we would love anybody to participate in research, but I do have to echo the importance of making sure that we have more Black and brown bodies in research. This is the only way that we are going to have the science, the backed science in medicines that will have a greater effect on people that look like you and I. So again, the Alzheimer's Association is the largest nonprofit funder of research worldwide, and is committed to supporting the best research to better understand, prevent, diagnose, treat, and eventually cure Alzheimer's disease and all other forms of dementia. Through the year, the Massachusetts and New Hampshire chapters offers presentations on research that you will find on our website. The Alzheimer's Association also has a free clinical trial matching service to help people with dementia, caregivers, and healthy volunteers find studies. Trial Match includes both clinical trials and social research opportunities. Now, Trial Match is great because it provides you an opportunity to participate in a study that you are most comfortable with. If you are someone like me that doesn't like needles, you don't have to participate in anything that has to do with needles, right? Trial Match is amazing and will fit you within a trial that fits your comfort zone. The Alzheimer's Association cannot achieve its mission of a world without Alzheimer's and all other forms of dementia without our volunteers. Our Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter is fortunate to have hundreds of volunteers who provide programs to families, organize fundraising events, and advocate for public policy, and much, much more. Our Walk to End Alzheimer's is the largest public awareness and fundraising event and is held in 12 locations in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and over 100 locations all across the country. The Longest Day is a do-it-yourself fundraising event in which individuals and families can choose their own date and activity to raise awareness and funds, whether that be, say, a bake sale at the church or a car wash or a lemonade stand, anything. We have Run, Try, Ride to End Alzheimer's, which offers several events throughout the year to participate in athletic events, including the Boston Marathon to raise funds, and the Ride to End Alzheimer's, which takes place in June. This actually happened on June 4th, this June, which takes place in New Hampshire. 90% of the funds from the Ride to End Alzheimer's are for research. The Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter also offers opportunities for volunteers to advocate at the state level in both Massachusetts and New Hampshire and on the federal level. You can learn about more about these opportunities at alz.org/MANH. And I know we won't necessarily have any questions at this time, but my contact information should have been put in the chat. If anybody has any questions whatsoever, you are always able to reach out to me. You can shoot me a text, you can give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever you would like. But at this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our next speaker, who will be Mike Kinkade. In 2019, Michael accepted the position of Director of Diversity Outreach for the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center for Massachusetts General Brigham and Women's Hospital. Together, the team is working to educate and recruit underrepresented communities about Alzheimer's disease and research. From the year 2000 to 2014, Michael worked at the Massachusetts New Hampshire chapter for the Alzheimer's Association, where he developed local and national education initiatives for people of color. One such program, the African American Community Forum on Memory Loss, became a national model. In 2014, he joined the Community Relations Department for Central Boston Elder Services. Along with managing the agency's senior volunteer program, he conducted community education programs. He continues to produce and host award-winning cable television programs such as Age-Wise Boston, and represented the agency on several citywide collaborations. In 2021, in partnership with Bright Focus Productions, Michael was selected to be the New England host of Brain Info Live. The broadcast is a live internet program designed for those living with Alzheimer's and their caregivers and loved ones. Finally, in his spare time, he is working on a compilation of short stories and poems in hopes that they will one day get published. Thank you. Mike, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ty. Thank you so much. So I want to say good afternoon, family. This has been an amazing program. We have heard so much about, as Barbara started off, how you can join the team. And I would like to talk about a saying that a lot of us have heard: it takes a village. And today, what you've seen is the village. You've seen part of the village. You've seen programming on how to get tested. You've seen conversations on what to do if you're concerned about your memory loss. This is Memory Sunday, how your house of faith can get involved. And so today, I want to talk a little bit more about that village. I want to talk a little bit about the help that is out there for you as a family. And then when I get done talking about that, we're going to kick right into the question and answer part of today's program. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So I want to share with you about two amazing organizations that I have had the honor and the privilege of getting to know over the last few years. One is a network. It's an organization called Union Capital Boston. And if you'd like to know more about Union Capital Boston, you can find out by, go to their website, unioncapitalboston.org, and check out what they do. But I'm going to read a little bit about their mission statement. Their mission is to transform social capital into opportunity by rewarding community engagement. They combine technology and relationship building to strengthen community networks, build social capital, and create new pathways of opportunity for individuals and communities. Now, Roisha talked earlier about the fact that folks need to stay active. Folks need to stay alive. It's just like the jet setters. I love the jet setters. I always jokingly say when I grow up, I want to be like you, because the jet setters, we did a Memory Sunday, I think it was 3 years ago. Folks were there. It wasn't a great day. It wasn't a day like today where it's nice and comfortable and everything. To be honest, it was a really bad Sunday. But folks were there. And I remember looking, going, this is what we're talking about. Getting up, going out, being active, even though nobody's making you go. But you want to be there. Union Capital Boston is just that type of organization. It's an organization which 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when the whole world seemed like it shut down, and those of us who work in community engagement were going, oh my God, what do we do? How can we reach folks? They went virtual in a heartbeat. They continued to provide programming. They continued to provide resources for people to go here and get information and just stay active, stay family. And that was amazing to me. And I've said ever since then that this is an organization that I'm impressed. They 2 nights a week, generally they do what they call a network night. On July 18th, they're going to do a partner night with my organization, the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, where we're going to be talking about something very, very special. The point is that they are in the community, they are of the community, they are by people from the community, and they let people find a way to get their voices heard. Check out Union Capital Boston. See how they're part of the village. Now, there's another organization, and I got to tell you, it's almost the complete opposite. Union Capital Boston is made up of an incredible slew of members from just, I can't even describe it. It's just the Seniors in Purpose and Power, elder group, the community groups. It's a whole range. But then there's this small little community-based organization called Rounding the Bases. And you hear about groups, they call them mom and pop shops. This is just such a place. It is run by it's a husband and wife team, Carl and Annetta Beatty. And I'm going to read you, I got to read you their mission statement. First of all, it's right off the bat, helping others to find new ways to help those in need. And Rounding the Bases is an organization that provides resources and connects people directly to resources for training, education, employment, housing, food, and other services within the Boston metro region. They serve adults ages 18 and older with a focus on low-income folks, homeless, ex-offenders, recovering addicts, unemployable, or physically or mentally challenged folks. In other words, they don't say no to nobody. If you need help and you want to learn something, they're there for you. They care for the community, and they pay special attention to understanding and meeting the increasing needs of senior population. They run a little food bank. They do a computer class. It's Take Tech Home. I will share this story with you, and it was a story that warmed my heart. I was years ago. They have a computer learning session, and they teach folks how to use the internet. They teach seniors how to use the internet. And I'll never forget this. I was chatting with one of the folks who had taken the class, and I asked her, I said, why is it that you want to learn how to use the internet? And this is the part that warmed my heart. She goes, I want to learn how to update my resume because I might want to go back to work. That's staying active. That's not shutting down. That is making sure that, as I forget who was said earlier, that Carrie Goodman said this: your senior years are supposed to be your best years. There's no end point for us unless we make one. So what I'm trying to say to you is that we have organizations in our village, Union Capital Boston, Rounding the Bases, and you can find the folks at Rounding the Bases by going to roundingthebases.org and see what they offer. And the third organization, and we kind of mentioned it earlier, when Ty read my bio, there's an organization called Bright Focus. And I have had the honor this past year of being the New England host of a really cool show called Brain Info Live. And in fact, we're going to put it up here in a minute, how you can watch, because our next episode, believe it or not, is coming up next Thursday on June 16th at 1:30. And we're looking at music and memories. Now, what is Brain Info Live? Brain Info Live is a live show on the internet that we do some exercising. We got an amazing, I'm gonna call it what it is. We got a funky workout guru. His name is John Lewis. We call him J. Lou. And every episode, J. Lou brings us something that keeps the heart pumping, keeps the blood rushing, just keeps your body wanting to move. And I always love it because my whole thing is, because first of all, I'm sitting in my office working out with him during the show, and I'm always amazed at what J. Lou brings to the table. We have done shows, and the shows are all designed, by the way, not just for people who are living with Alzheimer's, but also the loved ones who care for them. Because we've done shows on sleeping, and because that plays into living with somebody with Alzheimer's. We've done shows on diet. We've done shows on how to take care of yourself. And this Thursday coming up, June 16th, we're doing a show that is near and dear to my heart because it's a show on music and memories. And if you've seen the commercial on TV, I'm not going to name the name of the product because, endorsements. But there's a commercial on TV, shows a young man walking over to a young woman. They're obviously at something like a prom. He takes her, they start to dance, and then it flashes to the future, and they're older, they're seniors. And she has this look of confusion on her face. And he says to their voice machine, play our favorite song. And they start playing, and it starts playing that song that they first danced to, and her face lights up. And she remembers that this is the love of her life. Because as we heard earlier, as I always love telling people, what this disease called Alzheimer's steals from our brain can never touch our heart, because love will always remember. Music and memories and how those two blend together is what our next show is about. 1:30 Thursday, June 16th. Come hang out with me. Now, I'm going to read this because I read the other two. Bright Focus funds exceptional scientific research worldwide to defeat Alzheimer's disease, macular degeneration, and glaucoma, and provides expert information on these heartbreaking diseases. Check them out. You can go, if you go to the website, the brightfocus.com, I believe it is, or .org, but more importantly, go to the Venmo website to find out. There we go. Boom. Find out more about Brain Info Live. Find out more about Bright Focus Foundation. Find out more about what you can do to help your loved one. Now, I'm going to wrap up early because I am excited about the next part of this program, which is for you, the next part of the program, as Ty wrapped up, and I love the fact that his last slide said questions, because now it's time. And I've been bouncing over to the chat and seeing folks have been making comments, in the chat section. Now it's time for you to ask us questions. So I'm going to ask our amazing producer if she can bring all my friends back, because I've got some questions. I don't know about you. I know you got questions. I got questions. I'm not going to lie. I was writing down my questions all the whole time. And so, Tamika, if you can bring everybody back, I'm going to start firing some questions. Now, folks, I believe that if you've got a question, what I noticed here is that if you write something in the comment sections, it'll pop up on my screen. A little number will pop up, and I'll make sure that I get your question in there for you. So don't be shy. Fire away. And from what I was reading in the chat, Barbara, by the way, seems like everybody loves you, girl. But from what I was reading in the chat section, some folks know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, type something in there and they'll figure it out. So I'm gonna jump right in. Barbara, I mentioned you, and if you don't mind, I want to ask you a question, because you talked about your journey. But what I'm curious about, and I'm willing to bet others have the same question, things were starting to go wrong that you noticed, but you just kept going. What was that final thing that made you say, I need to go talk to somebody about this?
Thanks, Mike. And thank all of the others of you who put things in the chat. I have not seen it, so I'll look for it later. But what made me think about going to get help was because when I mentioned it to family members and whatnot, they just seemed to brush me off, or I felt being brushed off. And I just felt that I wasn't being listened to. And I just thought that things I was going through was not normal. And because of my affiliation with the Alzheimer's Association and doing the programs on dementia and Alzheimer's, that something may be wrong. It may not be, but something might be wrong. And I think that one of the programs that you mentioned, Mike, when you did Love Remembers, is that the family members tend to put things off, or they push it aside, and they see that grandma, or whoever, in my case, grandma, is acting strange or doing things. And they say, oh, well, that's just, grandma, and she'll be okay. And not realizing that there may be an issue that can be settled beforehand. And so it just gave me an opportunity to say, well, I need to get another opinion, because people who love me will be maybe glossing over what my issues might be.
Okay. All right. Now I want to jump over Commissioner Shea. You gave an interesting list of things that are happening with the city. Can you talk a little bit about memory cafes?
Sure. Thanks for that, Mike. So there are a number of memory cafes that happen throughout Massachusetts. Thanks for that, Mike. And they happen throughout Massachusetts and also throughout Boston. We are about to launch a brand new memory cafe that we'd love to invite people to. So memory cafes are a once a month opportunity to get together with people with dementia and care partners. It is a time when people don't have to worry about maybe not remembering everything, or, just feeling awkward or embarrassed. It's a time to come together and feel good about connecting. We always do some type of fun thing, like have a musician or trivia or something else, some type of remembrance activity, and just really connect with each other. So the one that we're launching is coming up at the Codman Square Library. And if people want more information about it, it's going to be starting next month. If folks want more information about it, they can reach out to our office, again, just by calling 311 and getting connected to the Age Strong Commission.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Shea. Carrie, first of all, on behalf of all of us here in Boston, because this is something you didn't mention. You think you're slick. You didn't mention this. For the last last year we didn't do it. The last 2 years we didn't do it. But for 3 out of the 5 Memory Sundays, you actually flew down here to fellowship with us.
Absolutely.
And I personally want to say thank you. Thank you
No,
for
thank you all. Thank you all. It is definitely my honor to do it. And I always look forward to Memory Sunday because, it's a time, like you said, a time for fellowship. And, we were together this past Friday for our celebration. And, after 2 years of being virtual, I thought it an honor to be there in Boston with you all.
So, Carrie, we've got some folks who have been watching this show who have probably never participated in Memory Sunday. And I know if I didn't know anything about Memory Sunday, I'd be wanting to figure out how do I bring this back to my church?
Absolutely.
How do I talk to my pastor and say, I just learned about this thing? Because, one of the things that I tell everybody is Memory Sunday is the start of the conversation. Mm-hmm. So, Carrie, how do we get folks to start that conversation?
Absolutely. So it's one of the most important pieces that I love talking about, the power of the pulpit, the power of our faith institutions. Historically, the church, if you will, was the pillar of our communities. And so if we look back in history, look at the civil rights movement, it was pushed essentially through the church. And so there are so many opportunities that we have to get messaging out. And so how churches can participate, very simple. Utilize the second Sunday in June as an opportunity to, as you said, start the conversation. And it's very simple. Give your pastor or faith leader the 3 to 5 points that you want to share. Of course, we don't want them to know everything, but we want them to be knowledgeable enough that they are able to share information to the congregation. And so I always say, identify a health coordinator within your church. Many churches have health ministries. And I would say utilize Sunday mornings or your newsletter or even social media platforms as opportunities to get information out about health and wellness. Because one of the things that we have to be very mindful of is everybody in our congregation are going through some form of something. And so churches have to be more trauma informed. And so when we look at diseases like Alzheimer's or dementia, it is a form of trauma, if you will, because it definitely takes a moment and arrests the family and the dynamics of what happens within the family. And so we have to understand that even our faith community is one entity, but we all are representatives of that community. So we bring our, many of us travel distances now to go to our various institutions, faith institutions. And so what we bring from our local communities to our faith communities, we have to be willing to make sure that each and every person within are taken care of. And so that's so important. And so simply, having a sermon geared towards Alzheimer's or raising awareness of it, or having somebody from your local Alzheimer's Association or from your different aging divisions to come to just share a few minutes. And see, one of the things that I do know that, 5 minutes in a service can have a lasting impact on someone's life, because there are so many people that feel as if this is something that is so that we don't want people to know, that we don't want people to talk about, because we don't want to see our family members decline in such a way, because again, we don't even know how they will decline. And so having this opportunity like a Memory Sunday, we say we want the faith institutions to bring your loved ones to service. It might be a task to make it happen, but at the end of the day, we want them there because there are scriptures that will spark their memory. There are songs that will, songs of old that they will, hymns or whatever, that they will remember and say, and it will put them in a place of ease. It will put them in a place of remembrance and a place of comfort. And so that's essentially why Memory Sunday is what it is. And we want everybody to at least do their one something to make sure that everybody is involved.
All right, which Ty, that's a natural segue for you. If I'm the health minister at my local church and I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, all right, I got to call Ty to see about who I can get to come to my church. How do they do that?
Yes, indeed. So there's a number of ways you can do this, and I'm happy. Thank you for bringing this up. One, you can reach out to me directly. If you have my number, I believe my information was in the chat. Whether you give me a call, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, get a hold of myself. I'd be happy to connect with any church in the community, and we can discuss how I can go about and present some information to the church, whether that be for 5 minutes, whether that be for 20 minutes or a half an hour. And then you can also, if you are also interested on even viewing some of the things on our website, you can also go to our website, and I'm able to provide a variety of workshops as well. So if you want to get into say the weeds of get a little deeper into the realm of dementia, right? And we'd like to have a workshop of some sort to provide some education, whether it be to the youth or to the congregation as a whole. We can set that up. We can set that up as well, and we can do it at your convenience, right? Whatever is convenient for you and what's best for your timeline. So yeah.
All right. So Nancy, I got to come to you because you actually told folks about us driving down the Batmobile, down Blue Hill Ave in the Batmobile.
That was a great memory, Mike. We were trying to figure out how to add more churches, and I said, well, let's just do it the old-fashioned way. We'll just jump in your Batmobile, and we'll print out a bunch of copies, and we'll drive down Blue Hill Avenue and just stick flyers, under doors and so forth. So it was fun.
But Nancy, if I'm watching this and the church isn't on Blue Hill Ave, can I still collaborate with the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if so, how?
Well, just give me a call, 617-278-0383. If you prefer email, nkoppelman@bwh.harvard.edu. However you want to reach out, I'm happy to speak with you. So just do it.
Well, we can't promise we'll show up in the Batmobile.
That's right.
Roisha, I loved how you described the BU Alzheimer's Disease Research. One thing that's kind of missing, and I made a note here. Two things. A, do I have to make an appointment, or can I just show up? And B, how long does it take for a memory screen?
Well, sorry, what was the second? Was B?
Am I going to be there all day when I make that appointment? How long does it take, for that first appointment? I see Barbara's giggling. So, I make that appointment. Is it going to be an all-day thing?
So, yes, you do have to make an appointment. And B, no, not all day, but a good part of your day. So I would plan, I would plan your day around it. However, but when it's done, it's done. So just plan for a day to get it out of the way and get evaluated. So it's worth the time.
Something just dawned on me. Do I come by myself, or do I have to bring somebody with me?
You can come by yourself. However, if you would like someone to help you drive, because not everyone is fond of driving into Boston or finding parking and things like that, I would suggest coming with someone, but you can come alone.
All right. It's funny because just as I was asking that, Mary Scott popped up with a question. She was told I needed to bring someone with me to the interviews, a friend, etc., that could verify my day-to-day memory status. What if this is not possible?
If it's not possible, we can work with you to figure out a different way to get that information. So whether that can be a loved one or a friend that might be far away and can't come in, maybe we can have a telephone conversation with them.
Okay. All right. Tia, So you gave a shout out to the Men's Day, Father's Day event at Nubian Square. And so my question is besides the memory screening, is there going to be other things going on?
Yes, there'll be a lot of things going on. We'll have an informational table set up with some swag. So if you want to come and get some free gear, you can definitely stop by our table. I think there'll be departments all throughout the Brigham and MGH too as well that will have tables set up. The cardiology department will be out there doing blood pressure checks and giving away things. I think that they're going to have they'll be giving prostate exams too. And then I think they're going to have the mammogram bus that will be out there too as well, doing mammograms. Free face paintings for kids. I know they're going to have like a kids corner where they'll be sitting and doing like readings with children too as well. A lot of free stuff, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good health centered stuff too as well, and information to come out and get and educate yourselves and make sure that you're doing good physically and mentally, because if mentally, you're struggling a little bit, it affects the rest of your body too as well, and vice versa. The rest of your body isn't doing well. You got high blood pressure, high cholesterol. That's affecting how you think too as well, and your cognition. And it's a precursor in some forms, or it can lead to or increase your risk for Alzheimer's disease. So, there'll be a lot of good stuff out on June 19th.
So I was in Nubian Square early Friday evening when there was a festival going on, and it was just crazy, really, really busy. So I'm wondering, are you going to be doing the memory screenings? Here's my question: do I come to your table, make an appointment for the memory screening, or can I just come to the table? And how are you going to be doing the memory screenings in the parking lot with all that? Again, I'm thinking about Friday between the music and all the crazy that was going on, the fun times. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, so you have two options. You can stop by our table. We'll have what we'll call them runners that will be walking people, escorting people to the bowling center. Or you can just show up at the bowling center. There'll be signs and we'll have somebody stationed and lead you to where we're going to be conducting the memory screens. We'll actually be on the second floor in the bowling center conducting memory screens. And we'll have one clinician on site and then two clinicians will be remote. So if there's anything that's concerning that comes up in your memory testing, you'll be able to speak to a clinician, whether it be a neurologist, whether it be a neuropsychologist. You'll be able to speak to somebody and get the next steps on what you should do to follow up on those concerning scores.
All right. I want to give a shout out to the bowling center for hosting us Friday night, but I also want to let folks know that as of today, as far as I know, masks are still required to go into the bowling building because it is a city building, city property. So, I'm quite sure T and the crew will be able to hook you up with that. So we've got just about 10 minutes left, and I've got about 10 million questions, but we're going to run out of time. So I'm going to do it I'm going to use my Brady Bunch screen here and start at the top and work my way around. But the middle square on the Brady Bunch screen happens to be Commissioner Shea. So Commissioner, if there's one thing you want folks to remember about today's conversation, what's that one thing? What's that take-home thing that you want them to walk away? As Arsenio used to go, things that make you go, what would that one thing be?
Thanks, Mike. That's a great question, and just want to thank all my partners for this today. You're all doing amazing work out there, and I think that if there was one thing that I would want folks to take away from this, it's that you don't have to remember everything that we talked about today. It's so easy to get connected and get the help that you need, or get involved in research, or get involved in activities that are going to keep you engaged and healthy. And all you have to do is give one of us a call to get to my office at City Hall. All you need to do is call 311 and get connected to the H Strong Commission. So I think that's what I'd like to say, Mike. Just do it. Just reach out, and then we can help you get connected to anything that you need.
Excellent. I love, just do it. We should put that on a t-shirt. But it is great to know that we've got a city that understands and supports folks who are living with dementia. And that's important. A dementia-friendly city. That's important. Carrie, you're next up on my Brady Bunch screen. If there's that one thing, all the way from Virginia, if there's that one thing that you want somebody who's sitting there going, what would be that one thing you want them to think about?
So the one thing that I would want people to remember, especially in this moment, is that, we're all on a journey. We're all in some form of situations, and understanding that it is not a race, but it definitely is a journey, and that, once we get to the end of it, it'll all make sense in terms of making sure that we have what we need in order to be the best that we can be. And so, like I said at the beginning, our latter days shall be greater than our former days. And so, thank you again for this time.
All right. And I'm going to piggyback on the journey. One thing I've learned in my later years is not to be in a hurry.
Absolutely.
Wherever you're going, it'll be there when you get there.
Absolutely.
And taking your time getting there makes it sweeter.
Right.
So, Miss Barbara, I'm reading the chat, man. My God, lady, you are truly loved. When you read it later, you'll see what I mean. In fact, I'm not gonna. This is I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna read some of the chat. Everybody, bear with me for a second. Obviously, that's what happens when you don't know how to do that. So, but here's one thing that somebody wrote about you. She is amazing. That sums it all up right there. She is amazing. You are amazing. And I guess I'm not gonna ask you the same question I'm asking everybody else. I'm gonna ask you a more important question. What would you tell family if you had to tell family? Because remember, I started out by saying, what was that one thing that made you go, something wrong here, and I need to find out what it is? So I'm going to ask you, if you had to tell family something to make them listen, instead of saying, oh, Nana, it's just you old, what would be that one thing you'd want them to hear so that they would understand something's bothering you? It may not be bothering them, but it's bothering you. What would that be one thing? Barbara, you're muted. We got to put that on a t-shirt too. You're muted. Go ahead.
What I want families to realize is that a lot of times people are not able to verbalize how they're feeling. But when a person can verbalize how they're feeling, they need to pay attention. And even if it turns out to be nothing, give them an ear and follow. That's what I would say. Pay attention and follow up.
I pay attention and follow up. I love that. And I'm going to say that to all of our viewers out there who have concerns. Family love you, and they don't want to see something's wrong. And I understand that. But you got to make them hear it, because they may not want to see it, but you got to make them hear it. Ty, you're next up on my Brady Bunch screen. What's that one thing you want folks to walk away going, wow, I should have wrote that down?
Well, I would say one thing, that's a great question. I want to say that it's important to have these conversations, and you never know who around you may be holding something in, or may be afraid to even share that information. I know Barbara mentioned, we can be very private people, but if there's one thing that I would ask for you all today, would at minimum feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to even have a general, whether it be a phone call or we can do Zoom. It's a conversation about how you think it would be best to broach this conversation with your congregation. because opening these doors and sharing these stories, you never know what impact that may have on someone else that is struggling and just doesn't know how to open up. And I'd be more than willing to join any congregation and work with any congregation to help have these conversations.
Ty, I just saw you put in the chat, and I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to let you get away without saying this. Tell me what June is.
June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month.
All right. I see you thought I was going to let you slide. Tia, you're next up on my Brady Bunch screen. If there's one thing that you want folks to walk away going, I need to write this down, what's that one thing?
I kind of want to piggyback off of what you and Carrie said earlier about the journey. Like, everybody's journey is different, and whether it be the MGB, Mass General Brigham, Mass General, or BU family, we're all a part of that journey with you. If you decide to join research, we'll all be a part of that journey, and that we need us to help us. So Black and brown people need to participate in research in order for us to make any advancements for treatment for everybody that fits everybody better than what it would go on the current trajectory and pathway that we're down right now. And the very last point I want to say is that if you do get into a study and at any point you feel like, nah, this ain't working no more, this ain't fitting my schedule, this is not fitting my lifestyle, I don't like the way that this feels, it's okay to say no. Even if you signed a consent form, it's okay to say this is not a good fit any longer. It won't affect your health care. It won't affect anything. It's okay to say no. So I just want to encourage everybody to just step out on faith and get involved. And I put it in the chat. I'm not sure if we can get it up on the screen. The red cap link.
It's up in the. There's forms are up on the right above, right underneath you.
Oh no, there's a different link. The Red Cap Partners link for Brigham.
All right, if our amazing producer Tamika can throw that in the chat, that'd be great. Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for your time today.
All right, so let me come to. We're gonna squeeze in two more. So Tamika, let me see Roisha. All right, Roisha, this is it. This is your turn. What's that one thing that you want folks to remember? They don't remember anything else.
I think one thing is hard to just have one thing, but I have a 1 and a 1A. One thing would be to just learn more, be more aware of what Alzheimer's is, what memory loss is, regardless of whether or not you have any concerns now, because there's always the later. But then there's also our loved ones, our friends that we might be concerned about. So the more we're aware, we can also help others. And secondly, to get involved in research, get involved in how you can have any one of us from this group today to come to your church or to your book club and have someone come and talk about memory loss and Alzheimer's disease. Yes, we would definitely love to do that. I think, just be empowered through education and just ask us questions. We need this to be a long-lasting discussion.
All right. Nancy, last but not least.
Oh my goodness, there are so many wonderful takeaways here. I guess one thing I wanted to add is that we would like you to regard the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center as your home for all concerns. It's www.madrc.org. Couple of other takeaways. You are not alone. Feel free to reach out to me, to anybody here that you are feel an affinity for. Just do it. And as Carrie likes to say, it's not about the how. Just as you take your first steps, the path will unfold beneath your feet. So thank you for everybody for your time today, for your patience, and for your presence.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. My final thought is, I started this conversation out with, it takes a village. These are members of the village. Reach out. Barbara, take us home.
This has been a very enlightening program, and we thank you for joining us. It has indeed been a wonderful afternoon packed with information. Please share this program with someone, and I invite you to look into research or study programs that will meet your schedule and your interests. I would like to thank all of the participants in our program today, beginning with Pastor Jarvis. And I thank the City of Boston, Mayor Michelle Wu, A Strong Commissioner Emily Shea, and her staff, Carrie Goodman and the Balm and Gilead, Nancy Koppelman, Michael Kinkade, Tia Hall from Brigham and Women's Hospital, Roisha Young from Boston University, Tyler Alston Swann and the Alzheimer's Association, Memory Sunday New England Coalition representatives from the various churches in the area, Tamika Tomlinson and the media team, and you, the audience. I would be remiss if I did not recognize one of our own jet setters and the outstanding work she has done. Thanks to Sister Pauline Jordan, who makes sure that information gets to the membership, and for her other secretarial duties. We invite you to check out the resources that are listed at the end of the program, and assistance is as close as a phone call. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, Memory Sunday is the second Sunday in June. Let's meet again next year. And thank you for coming. Bless you all. Please don't forget to fill out the survey that's at the end.
Once again, we are reminded of why we enjoy and focus in on Memory Sunday. There is so much to be learned. And I pray that you'll take this information with you throughout the year, share it with someone, and let's continue to spread the word. God continues to give us hope. Let's have a word of prayer as we close out today's session. Heavenly Father, I thank you because you are awesome. Even in the midst of darkness, you provide us hope. Thank you for all we've learned today. May it help us. May it help those we love. Bless us and keep us until we meet again. We pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
I'm only human. I'm just a woman. Lord help me. You know I can be, and in all that I am. Show me the stairway